Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. Great to have you here. Can't wait to get started on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. And the topic for today's show really came about from me teaching this past week's workshop on mastery. So inside of IHP, we have a program, a special certification for those people that want to take their skills, their knowledge within developing the de-stress protocol and all the different IHP protocols and taking that to the next level for really creating consistent results in their life and their life coaching or their transformational coaching based work. But the topic that I wanted to share with you is exactly what we really dove into. This is one specific topic, and it's really on this whole mindset of excellence. So when we think of this word excellence, a lot of the time we don't ever associate it with us. We're like, well, we can't be great at whatever it might be, because we always believe that we need to be the best in that category in order to be considered excellent. So for example, when you look at yourself and your schoolwork, you might say, well, there's the valedictorian, they're the smartest ones in the class, whatever it might be. But you have to understand is that all of that is well and good, especially within school. But once you get into the real world, we all know that those degrees, they matter. So like it matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but what happens is how you use those specialized skills that you've learned and developed are what's going to make you great or excellent. And there's the other notion, like let's even go to parenting. So as a parent, you might look at the job that you're doing, but you know all the inside, right? You know all the inside mindset of how you're doing. And you're like, well, I didn't act appropriately in this moment, or, I was kind of too harsh at this particular area. And so you don't feel like you could be excellent or you are excellent at your particular job. But we have to understand is that excellence is not reserved just for that elite level that we believe to be elite. Because remember, people might look at us and they say, oh, well, you're fantastic at that. You're excellent at that. But again, they don't know the inside baseball, the inside story of what's really going on. So I just want to caution you, whenever you look at someone else's life and you say, wow, they're so fantastic at this, that, and the other thing, you probably don't know what it took in order for them to get there, right? Most overnight successes take about 10 years, sometimes 20 or more. So we always want to keep that in mind for sure as well. But really, the other is just what is excellence in general. And that is what I was trying to get across in my last workshop. And so what we talked about was this. It's a quote from Aristotle, and this is really, really important. I mean, Aristotle was obviously a very brilliant thinker, someone that I studied when I was much, much younger, because I was so fascinated by all of the inventions and just the philosophy and the thought process behind a lot of the work that Aristotle did. But besides that, there was a great quote that came from Aristotle that said, we are what we repeatedly do. So I just want to repeat that, put a little emphasis on it. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit, right? If you want to be excellent at something, what do you need to do? Well, according to Aristotle and many, many others, it's you need to repeat whatever you want to be great at over and over and over until it becomes a habit. So one of the things that I taught within this lesson, and I'd like to share it with you, is that when you describe what a habit is, and the definition is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially that one that's hard to give up. So let's break that down just for a moment. First definition. So basically, it is a tendency or practice that you have on a daily basis. That's also hard to give up. So what would be a habit that you have right now that's hard to give up? Well, for one, and hopefully for most people, brushing your teeth first thing in the morning. That's a habit, right? Hard to give up. Probably a good thing. Get that bacteria out of your mouth, freshen your breath. Okay, fantastic. What's another habit that you might have that's hard to give up? That would be hard to break. For a lot of people, having a cup of coffee in the morning. That would be hard to give up. For me, I don't really need the caffeine for the energy, but I love the taste and I love the ritual more than anything of drinking that coffee. And I haven't found anything yet. I mean, yes, I obviously have my smoothie, and it can be decaf. I do decaf quite often. So it's not the caffeine, it's just the ritual, right? It's the ritual, especially in the pre-pandemic world when I was traveling a lot more, or I should say just, literally going into my office, I like the ritual of going into a coffee shop or a cafe and ordering that and just, chatting with the local people who are working there at the cafe. I enjoyed all of that, right? So that is a habit, right? We have to think about that. We have many habits, right? So for me, now that it's been so long, making a smoothie is a habit that would be hard to give up because of the hydration and the energy I get from that. So again, we all have these habits. The second definition though, so I want you to think about you, like what habits do you have, right? And are they leading you in the right direction? We'll get to that in just a moment. So the second definition of a habit though is a habit is a routine, a behavior that is repeatedly, regularly, and tends to occur subconsciously, which means you're not even thinking about it, right? You're not thinking like, oh, I need to get up and brush my teeth. No, it's just it's part of what you do. Like it's literally part of what you do. I said part of my morning routine is I literally wake up. First thing I do is I head to the bathroom, I put a little bit of water on my face, kind of just right around my eyes, and then I brush my teeth, and then I just kind of get into that routine. And it's just kind of like one thing leads to the other. So what I want to share with you is that I want you to break down your day a little bit so you have a little bit more self-awareness in the area, meaning that I want you to kind of look at what are the habitual routines that you have that almost carry you through the day in an automatic based process, meaning like you don't even need to think about them, right? So I want you to think about that. And then I want you to think about what habits would you need to have in order to create excellence in some area of your life that's important to you. And then I'm going to share just with you just a couple more slides and we'll start to break these down. So how I began this lesson for our IHP Mastery class was this. The slide said, remember, you become what you repeatedly think, believe, and do. And your habits are the acts that create this reality. So this is really important because in the previous module, we talked about essentially all the different habits and using something called the golden rule and why essentially there's a trigger and then there's an action and then there's the reward at the end. And I don't want to get too deep into that today, but a lot of the habits we have, we do them based on the reward at the end. And the reward at the end, so for example, brushing your teeth is, well, okay, you have fresh breath and you hopefully stave off cavities, right? Okay, you drink the coffee, maybe it's for the taste, definitely could be, but a lot of people, it's for the energy. Okay, so now you get that. That's the reward. So what we have to think about as we're creating our routines and our habits, there really needs to be a reason why. And that why is the reward. It is the benefit. And it also has to be a strong enough why if it's a new routine in order for you to carry it through that 21 days, right? The 90 days, the 200 something days, like as we start to create that long-term habit. All right, so the next slide was this. This is why if you tell me your current habits, which are your actions, right? Your daily actions, I can predict your future. So, and I said this, and I think all the IHP Mastery students got it when I said that after I explained that. If you tell me what you're doing on a daily basis, I will tell you what you will eventually get over the next 6 months, 12 months, year, 2 years. It is not difficult because I know the trajectory of your life. Again, I'm not a fortune teller. Certainly not a skill set of mine, but I know what actions are eventually going to lead to success. So if you tell me that you are, let's say you're studying to become a health coach, right? This is the field that I live in, so it's easy for me to talk in this particular area, but you could apply it to any area. You could be studying for a real estate agent. You could be, getting into insurance-based sales. You could be going through graduate school right now, like whatever it might be, right? So, okay, you're on that path. And then you end up with your certification. Okay, when you end up with your certification, great. You've now met that first requirement in order to have the fundamental knowledge in order to be able to help a certain segment of people. Great. So we have that. So you're on that first step. Now, what do we need to do? Okay, well, now we need to get in front of some of those people. We need to meet those people. So if you tell me, well, on Mondays, I'm in a networking group to socialize and meet with other entrepreneurs and other great people, and they're going to introduce me to these people, and I'm going to introduce them to them. Okay. And then on Tuesdays, I write a few different social media posts in order to teach people a lot of what I've learned to really give first before I would ever think about receiving. Okay, that's great. That's Tuesday. And then Wednesday, what are you doing? Well, Wednesday, I'm working on my Facebook group or my website or whatever it might be. Okay, what are you doing Thursday? And so they have something that any one day is honestly not that big a deal, right? One network meeting, one social media post, no big deal. But what happens is this. If those are habits and those are routines that you do on a daily basis, what's it going to lead to? Ultimately, it's going to lead to success. You're going to eventually, over time, these things add up, right? Over time, it's going to work. That's why if someone says to me, hey, I want to lose weight. Well, what are you doing right now? Like, what's a typical week for you? They say, well, I don't know, right? Because most people don't know. So I ask, well, how many steps do you walk on a daily basis? Just for movement, right? To get up and move. How many steps are you taking? I don't know. Okay. How many times a week do you work out? Well, it's been really inconsistent lately. Okay. No, again, like there's no judgment here, but we do need to be honest with ourselves. Okay. So not a routine in terms of exercise. How's your nutrition? Well, my nutrition's pretty good. Good. Tell me about your nutrition. What does it look like? What do you have for breakfast every morning? Well, it could be this, it could be that. That to me is a red flag, right? That to me is if you don't know what you're eating every single morning, you're not starting your day off right. You're allowing for too much chance. And so you might say, well, all of this sounds like too much routine, too much like rigidness. You have to understand, in order to be excellent in something, that means your weight loss goal, your wellness goal, your financial goals, your relationship goals, you have to be rigid. You have to be rigid. And that's because it's way too easy in this world of distractions to just jump from one thing to another. And when you jump from one thing to another, what happens? Well, you become a part of everybody else's world, right? You don't get to accomplish anything within your world. And again, the more that you build yourself up, the more that you fill your cup, I really believe this, the more that you're able to pour out into others. You really are. If you don't have a lot, you're not able to give a lot. That's what I've seen in my life. Now, it might be different for yours, but it just, if you're struggling with energy, it's pretty challenging to give more to others. It really is. That's at least, again, that's what I found in my life. It might be different for you. But the happier you are, I believe the more that you're going to want go out there and share and give, right? So here's the thing. We all believe that being too rigid, having too much of a routine, would feel like it takes away from our freedom. But again, I found directly the opposite. When you are more rigid and you have your routine, it actually takes a lot less energy. There's a lot less stress. You know what your breakfast is every morning, right? Like my breakfast is pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward, okay? I'm going to have some my oatmeal. I'm going to have some smoothie, and I'm going to get all my delicious nutrients in there that are great for my body, and I don't really need to think about it. It's all in the freezer. It's all in the fridge. I have everything that I need, right? My oats are right there in the cabinet. So it's very, very simple. And again, like I know what it is on a day in and day out basis. And I know what I need to do in terms of my movement. I know now that I need to take, the walk to work, but I also need my post-lunch, a 20-minute walk, and then a typical workout is going to get me my 10,000 steps per day. And if I miss any of those, I'm just not going to get my 10,000 steps. So I just have to be okay with that if I choose not to. But again, I know that that's what I need. So now I've hit this particular goal. And so you have to understand is your goals are going to be your goals. They're going to be different than my goals, right? But we all kind of have the same semblance of a goal structure. And that just changes from time to time. But the only way in order for you to achieve a goal, in my opinion, like a big goal, a big life goal, right? One of these big ones, get your health back, right? Get your body back, to get the career or finances that you want, to get the relationship that you want, to finally discover that spirituality that you're looking for. All of these things require excellence, but don't ever confuse excellence with being the best, because I don't even know what the best is anymore. Because all these people that I believe were like untouchables and the best, whenever I get to meet them and get to know them, I'm like, oh, they're a regular person. They've got flaws just like me, right? So it's like we put too many people up on pedestals. No one person should ever be up on a pedestal. All right, they have their flaws. Everybody has their flaws. That's part of being human, right? But if we go back to Aristotle's quote, we understand that we are what we repeatedly do, right? So we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So if you want to be different, if you want to have something different, if you want to transform yourself in some way, we know by definition, you have to change what you repeatedly do. So it is my belief and my hope for you that you choose just one area of your life for right now, because being single focused is going to allow you to go all in one direction. You'll still have the rest of your life. But if you go back to my previous Mindset and Motivation Mondays, you'll know that you can just dedicate 30 minutes a day, an hour a day maximum. 30 minutes upon waking, or 30 minutes before the rest of the family wakes up, 30 minutes before bed. If that doesn't work, maybe 30 minutes during lunch, 30 minutes before bed. You'll find a time if it's important enough to you. I mean, again, nobody has time, right? Nobody has the time. But if it's important enough to you, you'll find that time. So what I'm asking you to do is choose one thing for right now that you want to achieve. And then just understand that you need to be excellent in it. And if you think that excellence is overwhelming, I get it. But just remember, excellence is an act. Okay, it's not a thing that we just get to be, that someone bestows it upon us. It's simply a habit, right? I'm excellent at eating a good, healthy breakfast. Why? No special skill. I grew up eating Fruity Pebbles or Frosted Flakes, or sometimes I would eat Wheaties, but then I would put like 4 or 5 tablespoons of sugar on it, and I would drink Kool-Aid, in the morning for juice. Like this is not a special trait, right? This is not something that I even learned. I learned later, but I'm excellent now at eating a healthy breakfast. Why? I've just done it for a decade, more than a decade now, of the same exact thing. It's easy. This is what I do when food shopping. I go food shopping. These are the foods that I have to have in my freezer and in my fridge. So again, I don't want you to get overwhelmed by the process, but just understand that there's always a blueprint. So anything that you wanted to achieve has already been achieved by somebody else. Like, name the wildest thing that you could possibly want for a goal. That's why there's no outlandish goals. There's really not. The outlandish goals for you, the big, big goals, you see them as big because you have no idea how to get there. That's why you believe that they're outlandish and they're big. But someone has already done it. So read the books about the people that have already done it. Follow their blueprints. If you want to get well, trust me, there is no faster way to do so than running something like the Big 5 Labs. There's just no better way. You figure out all of the internal workings of your body. You see what your deficiencies are in terms of nutrients, right, or omega-3s. You see what your toxicities are in terms of gut bacteria or yeast overgrowth or parasites or H. pylori or heavy metals or omega-6s, like whatever it might be. And then you say, oh, I need to remove those. Yes, of course. That's what you need to do. Oh, you're deficient in this. Okay, you need to bring those up. And so, again, there's no faster way. Well, what about weight loss? Well, there's so many programs for weight loss. I just want you to focus, though, on not just the short-term weight loss, but the long-term results as well. Don't destroy your metabolism with a lot of these crazy diet plans that are going on. Spirituality. There are so many spiritual leaders out there. There is organized religion, of course, and then there's overall spirituality. You need to just move towards what speaks to you and then read every single day. Now, you might say, well, that sounds overwhelming. I'm only asking for 10 minutes upon maybe 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes before bed. That's a half hour a day. Like, you can do these things, right? You can absolutely do these things. You don't need 1 hour workouts for weight loss. 20, 30 minutes will do, honestly. And you can do it right at home if you choose to. Career. Well, whatever you're doing right now, there has to be a formula to how to get to that next level for a job promotion. Or if you want to switch jobs, certainly you can learn pretty much everything online now through all sorts of different online courses, certifications, programs, internships, etc. So again, there is a way to do this. There's a way to move to that next level, and it's called excellence. Never forget, excellence is meant for you as well. Excellence is not meant for your friend or your sibling or someone else that you just think is, great at whatever it is they do. No. Everyone becomes great through a specific system that they put into their life of daily habits that allows them to change their daily routine, which over time leads to new results. You can do it. Trust me, you can. Hopefully today's podcast was helpful. And of course, if it was, please do feel free to share this message with anyone else you believe it could serve. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. And before you go, I want to make sure that you know that Equilife is back. We are back offering our full spectrum, organic, and USA grown hemp oil, or CBD oil as it's known, over at equilibriumcbd.com. That is our sister site, and that is because we are not able to offer CBD oil over on Equa.life. The powers that be have finally allowed us to offer CBD oil again. Many of you who have been with us for a while know that we offered literally the highest quality, most efficacious product in the market just about 2 years ago before we were shut down from offering CBD oil. Well, we've tried really hard, we worked really hard, and finally we are back. So it is over at equilibriumcbd.com, but since it's been a while and many of you still haven't experienced really the power of using cannabinoids for healthy inflammatory-based responses as well as calming the mind and body, that I wanted to make sure that you got a free bottle. So all qualifying orders right now over at Equa.life, over $129, are going to get a free bottle shipped to them. This is our all organic, full spectrum, 250 milligram CBD bottle that you can use on a daily basis if you'd like, or whenever you need it. And again, this will ship completely free to you on all orders over $129 inside of the US. Unfortunately, we cannot ship this internationally. That's not our rule. That is the international rules that we're not able to ship CBD oil around the world. So right now, again, all qualifying orders, you won't actually see it say CBD because we can't list that on Equilife. It will say calming oil. That is how you know you will be getting your free bottle while supplies last. So while supplies last, all orders over $129 over at Equa.life. Get your free bottle of CBD. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. This has all the clinical effects that is talked about inside of CBD-based research, and I know that it's going to work for you. Head on over to Equa.life while supplies last.